The cooling manifold on Deck 7 had been malfunctioning for 3 cycles, and the station's maintenance crew had declared it a 6-person job minimum. Engineer Lyra Holt stood before the sprawling tangle of pipes and conduits alone, her toolbox at her feet and determination etched across her face. "The human thinks she can handle it solo," chittered Vex, the Cavalthian crew chief, his mandibles clicking with amusement. His 3 teammates gathered around him, their various appendages crossed in universal skepticism. Lyra ignored them. She'd heard it all before on the 17 different stations she'd worked across the Galactic Coalition. Humans were too small, too weak, too soft. Their 2 arms were insufficient. Their lack of specialized sensory organs made precision work impossible. She pulled out her scanner and began mapping the damage. The manifold had cracked along 3 separate junctions and coolant had crystallized in the secondary feeds. It was messy, sure, but not impossible. She'd repaired worse on a cargo hauler during a solar storm with nothing but duct tape and spite. 20 credits says she gives up within the hour, murmured Thex, a bulky draconid with scales that shimmered under the station's lights. "I'll take that bet," Vex replied. 30 minutes tops. Lyra cranked open the primary access panel and crawled inside. The space was tight, designed for the serpentine Scythians who'd originally built this section. She contorted her body, wedging her shoulders between 2 support beams, and got to work. That's when she heard the soft padding of feet. 2 small shapes emerged from behind a cargo container. Cubs, no more than waist-high with sleek fur marked in striking patterns of amber and black. Their eyes were too large for their faces, ears swiveling independently, and their tiny claws clicked against the deck plating. Kor and Neva, the station commander's offspring. The maintenance crew groaned collectively. "Someone get those cubs out of here before they damage something," Vex hissed, but Lyra smiled. She'd grown up with younger siblings. "Hey there, little ones. Want to see what I'm doing?" The cubs crept closer, curiosity overcoming caution. Kor's tail swished back and forth while Neva's ears perked forward. Lyra pulled out a hydrospanner and held it up. "This tool loosens the compression fittings, see?" She demonstrated on a nearby bolt, her movements slow and deliberate. Kor chirped, a high, trilling sound, and reached out with 1 paw. Lyra placed a smaller spanner in his grip. The cub examined it with intense focus, then mimicked her earlier motion on another bolt. "That's it. Perfect," Lyra encouraged. Neva wasn't about to be left out. She snatched a magnetic clamp from Lyra's toolbox and held it up triumphantly. "Good choice," Lyra said. "I need someone to hold these pipes steady while I seal them." "Think you can handle that?" The maintenance crew had stopped talking. They watched in stunned silence as the human engineer coordinated with the 2 cubs, transforming what should have been a chaotic disaster into something resembling organized teamwork. Lyra worked her way through the manifold methodically. When she needed a specific tool, she'd describe it and one of the cubs would retrieve it. When a pipe needed stabilizing, tiny paws would press against the metal with surprising strength. The cubs learned quickly, their predatory instincts giving them excellent spatial awareness and reaction times. "Kor, can you squeeze into that gap and tell me if you see any more cracks?" Lyra asked. The cub slithered into a space barely wider than his body, his flexible spine allowing contortions that made the watching aliens wince. "Chip, chip, chir," he called back, pawing at a hairline fracture Lyra's scanner had missed. "Brilliant. Neva, pass me the sealant gun." The female cub bounded over with the tool, her tail held high with pride. An hour passed. Then 2. Thex reluctantly pushed 20 credits toward Vex, who was too mesmerized to collect his winnings. The other species on the maintenance crew had evolved along different paths. The Cavalthians worked in perfect hierarchical precision, each member with a designated role. The Draconids preferred brute strength solutions. The Scythians relied on individual expertise and rarely collaborated. But humans? Humans turned everything into a teaching moment. They adapted, improvised, and somehow convinced 2 playful predator cubs that engine repair was the most exciting game in the galaxy. "Almost done," Lyra announced. Crawling out of the manifold with grease streaking her face, Kor and Neva emerged behind her, equally filthy and absolutely delighted with themselves. She ran a final diagnostic. The manifold hummed to life, coolant flowing smoothly through the repaired junctions. All readings were green. The maintenance crew stared. That should have taken 6 people," Thex stammered. Lyra shrugged, ruffling the fur between Kor's ears. "I had 2 helpers. 3 people total. Close enough. Those are cubs, Vex protested. Untrained younglings? They're quick learners, Lyra countered. Better assistants than some certified engineers I've worked with. Honestly, Neva preened under the praise, while Kor showed off his new spanner to anyone who would look. The station commander arrived moments later, drawn by reports of her cubs causing trouble. She froze at the sight of them covered in grease and grinning widely, then looked at the functioning manifold, then at Lyra. What? How? Your cubs have natural talent, Lyra said earnestly. With proper training, they could be excellent engineers. The commander's expression cycled through confusion, pride, and something approaching respect. You taught them? They taught themselves. I just showed them where to start. From that day forward, the maintenance crew stopped laughing when engineer Lyra Holt volunteered for solo jobs. They'd learned what much of the galaxy was slowly discovering. Humans didn't need overwhelming strength or specialized anatomy. They had something more dangerous: the ability to turn anyone and anything into an ally, even mischievous predator cubs with too much energy and not enough supervision. And Kor and Neva? They appointed themselves Lyra's permanent assistants, much to their mother's exasperation and Lyra's genuine delight. The human, it seemed, had collected her own pack. After all, that's what humans did best.